What's up everybody? For those of you who are new, my name is Eli Powell and I do freelance videography in Eastern North Carolina. But before we actually get started, I would like to inform everybody who actually took my last video seriously and thought I was being serious to just pause the video real quick and have a little staring contest with my computer monitor. Likewise, if you're one of those people who likes to post the most negative, destructive, and belittling comment that you can dream up, I would like to also encourage you to pause the video and have a staring contest with my computer monitor. With that out of the way, let's get started. Okay, so today I just want to show you my 5 favorite pieces of gear or equipment or accessories that I use with my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K. Now, if you're looking to buy the Pocket 6K and you want to rig it out, I've got to be honest with you, you should probably go check out the new Pocket 6K Pro. They solved a lot of the problems that the Pocket 6K has right out of the gate with that camera, so be sure to go check that out. And if you haven't heard about the new Pocket 6K Pro, I'll put a link in the description so you can go look at it and drool over it. But if you already own a Pocket 6K or you're looking to get a Pocket 4K and you just like to explore different accessories to improve your camera and utilize it better, this video is for you. First thing on the list is this Power Extra NPF 960 multifunctional battery. It goes with the Pocket 6K perfectly because it also has a really long name. This thing is awesome. It's an NPF 960 battery, but it also has a DC out on this side and a USB output on this side. And it's also got a battery power indicator on the top so you can get an idea of how much life you have left in the battery. I keep the battery on the monitor of my camera and then I run DC out to power my camera as well as my follow focus motor. And it usually lasts at least 2 hours running my whole system, which in my opinion is pretty great. There's a couple things you need to know before you use one of these batteries. First off, make sure to use a dummy battery instead of a DC cable to the actual input on the side of the camera. I learned the hard way that running a DC to the input on the side of the camera does not work. This is because the input on the side of the camera has an input of 12 volts and this is only a 7.4 volt battery, so this just does not have the power to run the camera if you run it that way. And the battery input on the Pocket 6K is designed for a Canon LPE6 battery, which has an output of 7.4 volts, just like the Power Extra battery. So using a dummy battery to power the camera from one of these is the way to go. Speaking of voltage, the other thing you need to know when using this battery to power your camera is that the voltage percentage on the screen of your Blackmagic Cinema camera is going to be pretty inaccurate just because it thinks it's using a way smaller battery than you have on there. But I found that if you tap the little percentage icon on the screen of the Pocket 6K, it'll switch to showing you voltage instead of percentage. I've found that the Pocket 6K will usually run until it's at about 6.4 volts. So I usually just change out my Power Extra battery when it gets down to around 6.5 volts, and I haven't had any problems. I've got 3 of these. They are awesome. They're about 30 bucks each. I'll leave a link in the description so you can go pick up a couple for yourself. Oh shoot, I'm using the next thing on the list. The next item on the list is the Nucleus Nano Follow Focus System. Now I'm using this right now to focus during this video. I do have an issue with this system every once in a while. I'll turn on the focus wheel and it won't connect to the focus motor. It just did it just now when I was starting this, and then it kicked back on and now I can focus again. That's not a very big issue for me because I can just turn it off and turn it back on again, but it may be a bigger issue for other people. Either way, whenever you put the word wireless onto something, you're kind of opening the door for problems to happen. So just keep that in mind when you get a system like this. But with that out of the way, I really do love this system. If you're using Tilta's cage, you can pair the motor with one of their focus handles. They have a few different versions of these, and that just lets you keep a good grip on your camera while pulling focus. I'm personally not a huge fan of this anymore. I started using the factory focus wheel and I like it a lot better. It's a lot smoother and like I said, it's wireless. So I have my focus wheel mounted on the side of my camera, and at the flip of a switch, I can take it off and use it remotely like I am right now. This is handy if I ever have the camera mounted in a weird spot, or if I'm filming myself like right now, or if I want to hand this to somebody else, let them pull focus while I focus on the camera movement itself. That way I don't have to worry about pulling focus. So it's just a very versatile tool that you can use in a variety of different ways. As far as the motor itself goes, like I mentioned earlier, I power it using the Power Extra battery from the DC out port and not the USB port. I actually wired a mini USB cable into my DC cord that runs to my dummy battery, and this is just because of another voltage issue. I was using a regular USB mini cord to run from the USB out on the Power Extra battery to the motor, but that didn't really send enough voltage, so the motor really struggled when turning the focus wheel, and sometimes the motor would just give up and stop turning. I'm pretty sure the USB out only has a voltage output of like 5.5 volts or something like that. According to the internet, the motor has an input range of 5 to 18 volts. So I knew it would be safe to tap into that 7.4 volt Power Extra battery running from the DC port on top. So I wired it in, and I haven't had a single issue since, but keep in mind that this isn't a recommended modification. You really should know what you're doing before doing any kind of wiring on your camera. And I'm not responsible if you mess up your camera because you tried to do this and you didn't know what you were doing. So proceed with caution, but it is a fairly simple modification that works really well for me. Okay, so next up on the list, we have the Silicon Power CFast 2.0 card. Most of the time I record on a external Samsung T5, which is what I'm doing right now. But for smaller shoots and as just a backup storage option, this thing is really handy. This is recommended and approved by Blackmagic Design, and you can get it in up to a 512 gigabyte capacity, if I remember right. I have the 256 gigabyte version, and this was only about 140 bucks on Amazon, which is way cheaper than all the other name brand CFast cards. So I highly recommend this card. Especially because it's recommended by Blackmagic Design. So pick up one of these for your camera. I probably shouldn't just fling that over there. Okay, finally a short name on the list. Next one up, I'm filming with right now, and I don't really want to switch lenses mid-shoot. So this is the Sigma 18-35 1.8 art lens. Now I understand this is more than just an accessory. And I also understand that literally everybody recommends this lens for the Pocket 6K. So this is probably nothing new to a lot of you guys, but it's still my favorite lens for the Pocket 6K, so I felt like I needed to include it. Now, this isn't a full frame lens. This is designed for Canon APS-C cameras, which have a crop factor of 1.6. But since the Super 35 in the Pocket 6K has a crop factor of around 1.5, this lens works really, really well with the Pocket 6K. I've also seen a lot of people use this lens on the Pocket 4K. I'm not sure if they're using a speed booster or just an adapter, but if you're shooting on the Pocket 4K, I would definitely look into it. The main reason I love this lens, besides just being super sharp and everything looks great when you film with it, is that it has a constant aperture of 1.8. That means it's at 1.8 when it's at 18 millimeters. It's also at 1.8 when it's all the way up at 35 millimeters. It is a constant aperture. So being a zoom lens with a range from 18 millimeters to 35 millimeters, which is a pretty versatile zoom range, and the fact that it also has that constant aperture of 1.8 makes it an awesome lens for the Pocket 6K. This is also in Sigma's Art series of lenses, which basically means it's designed with higher end glass. It's just a better lens overall. It's sharper, it looks better, and it's just a great lens. So I highly recommend it. All right, last but not least, I want to show you guys a super cool app that you can use with the Pocket 6K if you're an iPhone user. This app is called Bluetooth Plus for Blackmagic, and if I remember right, it was about $3. This app uses the Bluetooth on your camera to connect to it, and you can control pretty much any of your settings. I kind of don't want to mess up my settings right now and show you guys, but I mean, you can control your aperture, your shutter speed or shutter angle, your white balance. I don't think, I couldn't adjust my frame rate. That was messing up for me. Also, you can't preview the feed of your camera on this app, and I think that's just a limitation to the Bluetooth, but I'm still really happy with the app. Possibly my favorite feature of it is that you can actually use this to pull focus if you're using a lens that has autofocus. Now, it's not smooth at all, so I wouldn't suggest doing it while recording, like for an actual focus pull, but it's really great for setting focus if you can't access your camera, if you have it in a weird spot, or if you're doing what I'm doing right now and you need to set focus on yourself. You may or may not find this app very helpful. I definitely don't use it every day, but it's really nice to have on hand, especially because I've always got my phone on me when I'm shooting anyway. Okay, so that's it. Those are 5 of my favorite accessories for the Pocket Cinema cameras. Be sure to let me know what your top favorite accessory is down in the comments. Also, while you're down there, I have included links to everything I mentioned in this video in the description. Now, most of these links are affiliate links, so if you use them, I might make commission if you purchase it. So if you use those links, I do appreciate you supporting the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.